Uh,
Go
customer,
back, I think, to number
Number-
17.
16.
Or is it-
no,
is
the
it
16?
Number 16.
16.
And we did submit an addendum. It wasn't ready on time for, so we did, it's the one with a chart. And it was, what I originally started to do is to do sort of a timeline of the major events and also what is our plan to resolve some of these issues. And Ms. Shine is here also. She is the supervisor for the customer service. I think everybody has one of these?
Yeah.
Okay. Pretty much, because I know some of the board members are new. I just wanted to go through some of the major events that occurred in 2016 and 2017. The new system was actually installed in 2016, October 2016, and that's when the new bills started to go out. And April 2017 is when they discovered that there were glitches in the system, and so you had duplicate bills and additional amounts in the bills. So those bills were then identified and investigated, and the total amount of the bills was $13,723. That was in April. Because of that, as a result of that, on October 2017, the board voted to extend until March 2018 that no water would be cut off to those bills that were being investigated.
Can you clarify that for me? Because I was of the impression it was no cutoffs at all. It's only to those that are being investigated.
Only to those that are being investigated. Okay. So, but unfortunately, some people, decided that, I'm not gonna pay. So, you do have that situation,
And
right?
the reason I bring that up is that that's one of the items you have to consider when you look at declining revenues.
And Jackie, there has been an increase, right, on people who are not paying because of that?
Correct, because the public understood it as nobody was gonna be cut off. Not that only if your bill was in dispute, you were not gonna be turned
How
off.
did that misinformation get out?
I think it's just however they read it in the news media, that's how they interpret it.
Right, I think between what, the city council wanted and what Mr. Rainwater recommended, I think the public just heard that nobody's getting turned off.
In one of my last jobs, the rollout of the customer service information system was really problematic. And as a result, council voted to suspend shut-offs. And the amount of cases we were investigating was actually not all that large, but the revenue drop immediately from people who don't feel the need to pay because we don't have the leverage of shut-offs, it was over 12%. I mean, it was a big number. So we do need to continue where we have scrubbed the bills and we are comfortable with their accuracy. If they are not getting paid, we do need to continue to pursue shut-offs.
And if that is the case, then where are we in terms of communication to the public of what this process is so that they clearly understand what is and what is not with regard to their or anyone's water bill?
That was going to be my point. Can we start with the messaging now to say, listen, come March 2018, your payment should be remitted. We're no longer suspending shutoffs as of this date. And how quickly can we start?
I think it would be cleanest to do it that way, to basically start that communication because we've got the vehicle of the policy expiring.
Yes.
And then make it extremely clear that, what I don't want to say is if you're under investigation, we're not going to complain because I'll get 50,000.
Investigation.
So that's what'll happen. Those folks who are not paying now, they'll just file, they'll just request an investigation of their bill.
Right, so we have to
So it just
find a
needs to
way
be
to message it.
clean and just say, as of March 2018, your bill is due. Remit payment.
Let me tell you the other concern, and I have to say it because I or another board member asked this question at the last board meeting. Have the billing problems been addressed? if I recall accurately, the response was yes. My impression is that is not the case, because I'm still getting letters from people who are having issues with regard to billing. Where are we? And I'm gonna ask you
Within the
directly.
presentation, sir, we'll get to the,
Okay.
Right.
to the thresholds and benchmarks and what we
Okay.
still have remaining and, go ahead.
Okay.
All right.
All right, so, that was one of the questions that we did have is, how are we gonna continue this no cutoff? So I think that's good to know that, hey, as of March 31st, it will be done, and we will be starting to cut off,
Well, they may or may not. Let's finish the presentation so that they can
right.
make a
Okay,
determination.
as of December 2017, there were 349 hearings held, because the process is they try to resolve the case with us, customer service, and then the meter readers. And if that's not resolved, they have the option to have a hearing. And then there's it's actually, a hearing that's done by council. And so 349 of those were held. I don't know what the rulings were on the 349, so that's additional information that I need. But I do know that there were 349 hearings for that year.
Okay.
Then to help us to get through the problems that we had, in January 2018, we hired and started training 20 additional meter readers, because the key to resolving this is to make sure we read the meters every month. I mean, as long as we avoid as many estimated bills and we have actual meter readings, we'll be better off.
Does that 20 give us a sufficient workforce to do exactly that?
Well, there's a time lag, because those 20 have to be trained, and according to Jackie, it'll take 3 to 4 months to get them really going to be effective, because they have to go through a training process.
Is 20 the right numbers? Is the
Yeah,
ultimate goal
that's my
30,
question.
40? What is it?
What do you think?
20 is a good number. If they all come to work, all show up, weather's all good.
Start, yeah.
Right, it's a start at the right number.
So how often are we looking to hire 20? So, because it seems like we're getting the pipeline, since we have that lag time in the beginning, right, of training, and then we have that high turnover rate once they get here. So how often are we hiring that 20, and what does our pipeline coming in look like?
I would recommend every quarter to, because there are gonna be some that leave, because it's a little bit more exertion than other meter readings, like for Entergy.
Right.
So I would say we would need to get into a process where every quarter we see how many have left and start that whole process again.
Do
or
we have
refilling.
that established in customer service? Is that something that you're just gonna be able to do? It's already there?
No, it's not already
No.
there.
Okay, I
But
think,
we would like to see that.
No, and
absolutely.
then it has to be in combination with HR
Of course.
to make sure that they process the forms and, do the interviews.
Am I correct also assuming that means that there's still a high percentage of estimated bills?
Yes.
Which in turn,
Need some more complaints?
Oh, yeah.
well, what it does is it means that customers are getting estimated bills, which could or could not be correct, which to me generates additional questions from them about my bill and how much do I have to pay, et cetera.
Correct.
Am I correct?
That's correct.
So we're still in a catch-22 situation.
Right.
so hiring meter readers is one part.
One part. yes.
Working through the additional challenges with software and bills that don't apparently even seem to exist is another part. What their staff's trying to do is quantify where are the problems, how big are they, where are we along the path to remediating those particular problems. We're trying to give them additional support, certainly to do that, trying to work through getting expedited hiring. The one of our Vicky's logistics guys, the emergency ops center, an ex-military guy, is actually kind of embedded right now, and he's trying to understand the scope. It's not all within customer service. A lot of it is the interface points potentially elsewhere in the organization that are creating problems. So we're trying to get it down on paper so we can figure out a way to walk through it. I wouldn't say we are near remediation yet, But we need to get the problem bills moved aside, make sure we're shutting off on the billing that we are comfortable with to help protect revenue, and we have to improve our communication, because just reading it in the newspaper is not a real reflection
And that was
of
the other
what's
point I was
happening.
gonna mention, that communication piece, I think, is still so critical. If people know, the greater tendency is to try to understand and work with the system and work with Sewerage and Water Board. If they don't know or feel they're not getting adequate information, that presents another problem. So what I hear from you is that you feel and sense that that communication issue is going to be addressed quickly so that the public basically understands where we are and the steps that are being taken to resolve these issues.
Right, as soon as I can get adequate brackets, because what I don't want to do is say there's 13,000 open cases and then find out it's 28 in a week. So I'm trying to validate what we're hearing, make sure we have a process for tracking it, and then we have a way that we're working through remediation on each one.
Okay.
All right, what and they have come in and started the process of working with us and helping us is we have two contractors, Verint, which is a software provider in Cogsdale, to come in and fix those issues in the system, and also to create training material for staff and make sure that all the staff is duly trained correctly on the new system, and to also improve the interface between our system and the accounting system, because there were issues with that too.
Okay, is Verint that group that we were supposed to be, that we approved right before Robert Miller left, that's supposed to mirror what the city was doing? Was that
No,
the
that's the
same?
311.
Right, that's the 311, that's different.
Okay,
Verint is, like a scripting software. So it'll go on top of the customer service billing system and help the customer service representatives script through their job functions. So it'll tell them, you know, what to do, where to go.
and where are we with the implementation of that?
We just started on
Started
that.
in January.
Yeah, it was funded, and we have the contract, they have to begin on that. And also, Cogsdale was here too. There were certain items that should have been completed in the previous contract that apparently it was fast-tracked, and so certain items were not completed, and so they're coming back to sort of clean that up. Also, that was the thing that Cogsdale's supposed to, I think it's Cogsdale, right? Supposed to help us, because we were mailing letters to the customers about the status of their investigation, and those were being done by hand, and we wanted to be able to not do it manually, but systematically send out those letters. And I think they're still working on that, Jackie.
They're working on that.
Yeah. And then the other issue was the 6,000 bills that had not, they were new, in other words, new construction or new customers where they had not received a bill. So that was one of the things that there was a problem. They had not received a bill, some of them for a year. And so those issues were resolved. Not all of them, though. I think there's still a few outstanding of those.
About 1,000, I would say, maybe less than 1,000.
So that 6,000 is 1,000 roughly.
Yeah.
Right. And then,
So we potentially, so we have people out there who just receive service for free.
there could be. I mean, we are trying to make sure that we find out, but I mean, plumbing has to, when it's a new construction, there is a, certificate of occupancy, so, that's connected to what plumbing issues, information to us, so,
In our current rules and regulations, excuse me, sir, go ahead.
No, so when we do, as you resolve them, like you said, you got them down to 1,000 now. Did we go back and back bill? Was there any way to do that?
That's what I'm gonna ask. Is there limitations within our policies, how far back we can go?
I don't think we have any limitations.
I would just sensitize the board, this was an issue in my last employer as well. I'd be careful how far back.
Right,
you
right,
go.
because these are gonna, and if it was a year bill, that, I mean, some
Yeah.
people wouldn't be able to pay that out of.
Right, well, we put in the letter that if you need us to make payment arrangements, if you need to break this bill up, we are more than happy to do that.
Right, okay.
And I guess my question before we even got there was, had they not received the bill at all, or were they receiving the estimated bills? And
They had not
Not
received the
received
bill.
the
at
bill.
These
all.
are ones that had not received a bill.
And then before we move on, that 311 system, where are we there
I'm not really sure
in the
about that.
procurement process with that?
That
I
was,
haven't looked at that one yet.
that was just started. I mean, that was something apparently that kind of got dropped off. Mr. Becker was gonna proceed with that, and then it just was nothing, no action was taken, and I think Ms. Edwards needs to really look at that and see.
And it's my understanding that the city has picked back up on looking at whether we can piggyback off of their existing contract for those services. So I just recently heard
That's
that
right. I did
in the
hear that.
last
Yeah.
couple weeks, yeah.
Right.
So we'll have an update for your full board meeting.
Sure, thank you.
So, to reiterate, we have resolved from April 1 till November 2017, 7,439 cases.
Is that out of the 13,000 number
Yes,
up
ma'am.
above?
Yes, yes. Then in December, we resolved 1,491 cases. However, because as each month, new cases come in too. So as of January 30, we have 6,300 investigations outstanding.
That's overall.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
How many vacancies are in customer service?
25 vacant customer service positions.
What percentage is that of your total authorized level?
I don't know off the top of my head. I have about maybe 80 people in customer service.
That include meter readers or
No.
actual reps?
That's reps.
Yep.
Reps and cashiers, people deal with customers face
So
to
you're
face.
supposed to have 100, is that correct? The vacancies plus,
Yes.
which, okay.
Yeah, customer service is a problem because we can't retain. I mean, we have a lot of people who leave, so it's a problem.
And they had, when we went to the Civil Service Board a week and a half ago, they approved some of the Phase 2 adjustments, but they withheld the customer service adjustments.
Right.
Is there any indication as to why?
Well, because they say it impacts customer service, it's a citywide designation, so it impacts the other departments. What they offered is that they're gonna come in and see what we do in our office, because, we were telling them it's not strictly customer service, it's not filing, and it's not just answering the phone, is also handling cash, deposits, talking to customers, working that new system. So it's a lot more than just a filing or general office work. And we've been working with them diligently. We've, filled out the questionnaires.
Right.
It's just been a hard progress for us to do that. They offered one where it's clerk 4 to be able to, get a hike rate on that, but they have been, it's been hard to get them to look at that, because really what we're saying is just give us a different designation, because it's not just a regular customer service or office worker.
And what are they currently classified as?
They're in the clerical administrative series, so office assistant trainee.
Yeah.
And so, like she said, civil service sees that as the same as other city jobs, and our argument is it's not the same, it's different. So like she said, they've offered to come and sit with our reps and see exactly what they do, see how many different softwares they have to access to do their jobs. We feel it's just totally not the same as regular clerical jobs.
Okay, our plan to resolve the issues, and, some of this is gonna take 3 to 6 months. It's not instant gratification. But we did change the formula to review the bills. Before, we had a set dollar amount, we've now changed it to a percentage, and this is in place now, and
What does
it's.
that mean, though?
Anything that is 75% increase in the bill, we
Triggers
review.
a review?
Triggers a review, yes. And of course, we are working with HR to fill and train the vacant customer service positions, and also to proceed with the promotions, which are standard, regular promotions from 1, 2, or 3 to a 4, which would be affordable to them, and so that we can retain the employees.
Similar to
Let me
the
interject
discussion.
some-
Go
Let me
ahead.
interject something. We have a committee member who really has to be in another session out of this building for 1
Sure.
o'clock. And we still have executive session. I'd like to move ahead with the executive session, and if we have to get
Sure.
timeline, come back to that, because if we lose him, then we lose a quorum, and we need that for the executive session.
That's fine.
So
I
is
am
that,
gonna request, sir, that this be literally a standing item on this committee until we reach a point where everyone's comfortable with the timelines and the steps we need to take.
okay.